We're home from NAMM 2020. It was a fun show. I posted over 35 videos. So for those of you who watched and liked and commented and shared, thank you so much for that. If you haven't seen them, go back in the channel. There's a bunch of them. You might see something that you like that I'm not mentioning in this video. By the way, this is the highlight reel. I want to talk about some of the things that I saw that I felt were standouts, and also some of the things that you guys, the viewers, seem to enjoy because they got a lot of views, likes, and comments. So let's start there. The video runner-up that got the most views was the Pioneer DJM V10. I'm not sure why they call it a V10 because it's a 6-channel mixer. It has 6 line faders on it. It's 19 inches wide, and this is more for like touring DJs or club installs. Us mobile guys are not going to be using this, but it's a powerful piece. The one standout thing that it had that I thought was interesting was a 4-band complete kill EQ on it. So instead of having high, mid, and low EQ, it has high, mid, and low EQ. So that was interesting. Again, not for us, but it was fun to look at. And I don't know why they call it a V10. Maybe you do. And if you do, let us know in the comments section. The one that got the most views was the Chauvet Gig Bar Move. This was a piece that they debuted at NAMM. It actually leaked around Christmas, I think, and they weren't too happy about that. But here it was at the show for all to see. It has 2 moving heads and 2 moonflower effects, along with 2 RGBA pars and a red and green laser. I think it's a red and green laser. And it's just a simple light show. You put it on a stick and away you go. A lot of people enjoy that type of light show. It's just simple. It's not for me. I like something a little more stealth and a little less in your eyes kind of thing. But a lot of people do like that type of light show. And for those of you who do, Gig Bar Move, there you go. You've got moving heads on your gig bar now. The big standout for me that I just can't stop thinking about is the LD Systems Maui 44 G2. And part of the reason that I like it is more of a fanboy thing than anything else. The back panel reminds me of old Macintosh stereo stuff. It's got that piano finish on it. And when you turn it on, it illuminates green. It's like a backlit thing. Very cool. But it's also something that I feel like I can use as a DJ. I'm using the Evolve 50 for most of my events, and I'm using it for like 250 plus. But if I want to go 300 plus, I have to bring a traditional 2-way top cab system, you know, maybe the Electro Voice EKX system. That's what I have. That would work for my events where I have more than 300 people. However, this LD Systems Maui 44 G2 has a 15-inch woofer in it. And then it has 6 low mid drivers, 6 high mid drivers with waveguides on them, and 4 tweet horns at the top. This thing sounds great. I heard it with pre-recorded music. I heard it with live music outside. It's very impressive, and I'd like to go ahead and get one of those down here in the studio, or 2 actually. I need a pair of those for the bigger gigs. Now, it has 4 amplifiers, and they're all crossed over for you. You don't have to worry about anything, but each individual set of speakers does indeed have its own amplifier. I think for a total of 1500 watts, which, as you know, doesn't really mean much. Watts is not what we talk about when we talk about, you know, speaker output. That's an SPL thing, which I did not get the specs on, but I heard it and I was impressed. Now, for those of you who are looking for bigger events, you want to go ahead and do something with big schools or whatever, and you're thinking about getting into production, Jamie Villari at FBT had a great idea with the Horizon series. This is a new array that you can mount either vertically or horizontally. And what they've done is they've done some horizontal mounts on this. It's pretty impressive. The build quality on this thing is insane. They're using a rubberized casing now, so it's not going to get all scratched up and banged up in transit, which is really nice. And Jamie said he's doing like 500 kids with 2 of these Horizon arrays on top, and you can grow with it. It's also very easy to connect the arrays. It used to be like a pin system and a bracket system, but now it's very easy with this system that FBT has created, where you can just kind of click them in place with these little built-in pins. Stepping into something like the Horizon series from FBT is not for the average DJ. The price tag on this stuff is up there. This is all Italian made stuff. They're not outsourcing to China for anything. So, yeah, you're going to pay for it. But for those of you who are thinking about getting into production and want to grow with a system, I think Jamie had a great idea with this. That brings us to the Evolve 30M from Electro Voice. This was an odd one because some people got angry with it because it wasn't a bigger version of the Evolve 50. It's a smaller version, kind of. It's actually more than just that. But just to give you an idea, if you're going to put them side by side, the Evolve 30M is 3 decibels quieter than the Evolve 50. That's what Mike Dussault told me. And he also told me you're going to realize the difference in the bass because you're going 12-inch woofer versus 10-inch woofer on the Evolve 30. So it is a quieter piece, but it's unique because what you can do is run multiple electronic instruments into it, microphones, guitars, whatever. And then there's an app where you can actually mix a band, which is really cool. You don't need a big mixing board or anything. You can do this via a wireless app on a tablet or something. And I can definitely see the uses for something like this. In my neighborhood, there are a lot of small bars that do live music. This is not something where you've got a 200-person venue. This is like a 50 to 100-person venue, and there's a band in there. This is ideal for that. And there have been events that I've done where I've thought to myself, the Evolve 50 is a little much for what I want to do here. The Maui 5 Go is too small, so I'm just going to have to run the Evolve 50 and turn it down. The Evolve 30 would be ideal for this. Again, a little smaller, got the 10-inch woofer, and it's got the array. It's about the same in the array. But cool piece, 3 decibels quieter, but I think we're going to have a look at it here in the studio. I do see some potential for this, especially for those of us who are doing like big wedding ceremonies where we're mixing a band, and then we have maybe an officiant with a mic, and we also have somebody doing readings and a bride and groom on a mic. You need multiple inputs and the ability to be able to mix these, you know, kind of front of house toward the back. That is very cool. I like that concept. So stay tuned for that Evolve 30M. I think it's got some potential. Now, speaking of the Evolve 30M video, see those lights in the background? Those are from a company called MegaLite. And I happened to just walk past the booth and see them. I thought they were pretty interesting. They're called a Circus Scoop. There's a regular Circus Scoop, there's a Circus Scoop extra small, and a Circus Scoop extra large. The salesperson there told me that Carlos Santana's touring with them, as is Bad Bunny. They're using them. And there's also a crazy looking computerized thing you can program them DMX with that they have. They're not a cheap date. The XL is well over $2,000, and the regular one, just the medium sized one, I think is either $1,400 or $1,600 a piece, and the small one, which I think was a little too small, is $650. But what I liked about it was that it's kind of an eye candy effect. If you turn the brightness down on them a little bit, as you can see in the Evolve video, yeah, you can look at this thing and it's fun to look at. Most of the lighting that I do is the Ape stuff, where it's battery powered. You turn it on, you set it around your dance floor, you can make it fade, you can make it strobe, you can go music mode with it. I like that, but it's cool to have a piece that you can just look at, and that's what that MegaLite piece was. I'm not going to pick them up, but I thought they were pretty neat. If I was going to do something like that and wanted to go maybe a little smaller scale and do it on a budget, Jmaz had a really interesting piece. It was called the Halo 4 Strobe. There are a couple of different lights in the Halo series, and if you look at the show video, they're in the top trusses. You can see they're RGBs, they're circular, they're just kind of doing like these cool patterns. I could see DJs using a couple of these on sticks, or maybe even on top of your speakers. I'm thinking about if you could adapt a column array to accommodate one of these on top, that might be kind of cool. You can put these on top. It's something to look at. I'm not sure if they have a cool internal mode. I definitely wouldn't use them as a strobe. It says strobe, but they're not really strobes. As you can see, they just kind of do patterns. And they definitely do strobe too. They do that, but the patterns I thought were interesting, and I'm sure it's at a price point that's a lot easier to swallow than the MegaLite stuff. There was so much stuff at Jmaz that it was really kind of hard to focus on any one thing. They have a lot of different pieces, but that did stand out for me in the booth. And Jmaz does want to work with us. We're going to be seeing some product of theirs coming into the dungeon very soon. Now, for those of you who like the same thing I like with lighting, where you have your lights kind of around a dance floor and you're able to control them maybe via DMX if that's your thing, ADJ has the new Element STs. They're kind of like a stubby, ST stands for stubby, Element hex par. And they are hex. And they're Wi-Fi, and they have an 8-hour battery life, and they have a touch screen. Those are coming out, I think, in March. And yeah, so for those of you who like to DMX your uplighting and create those cool patterns, this might be a cool light for you to look at. And again, probably March. So there's a NAMM overview video for you. There's a lot more stuff to be seen. Like I said, 35 videos on the channel. Please go have a look. I will put links to the stuff that I was talking about down here in the description so you can have easier access to it. That's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all of your support. Like, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. I'd appreciate it. Practice and enjoy.